Buenos dias, this is Kaypacha with the weekly Paleo report. Back home in Costa Rica where the coffee beans are blossoming. Yes sirree, this is what I like to see, because I love coffee. Anyway, back to astrology. Yes sirree, this is the Paleo report is an astrological forecast, so let's get on it here. We got the moon in Gemini. Traveling, short distance, long distance, talking, busyness, whatever. Tomorrow, Thursday, she goes into Cancer. And then we've got on Friday, Christmas Day, the full moon at the 4th degree of Capricorn Cancer. That full moon is happening on Christmas Day. It's not the only thing. Uranus stations and goes direct on Christmas Day. Mercury is in a beautiful trine to Jupiter on Christmas Day. Really something else going on here. We've really got some powerful aspects going on, as you may have noticed with this solstice time, the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. The longest night, southern hemisphere, the longest day. Anyway, then on Sunday the moon moves into Leo, goes right on through, trines that Saturn in Sagittarius, which I'll talk about. And on Tuesday she moves into Virgo. Finally, we'll have the exact Mercury square Mars on Tuesday. The same day that Venus moves out of Scorpio into Sagittarius. So let me talk a little bit, I'm just gotta do a quickie here because, there's just so much going on, man. I'll see what we can make sense out of it. Okay, everybody. So, I'm still in recovery mode from Mercury conjunct Pluto, squaring Uranus, just this last week, and the Mars is squaring Mercury. Mercury is thoughts, communication. When it connects with Pluto, it's very interesting. Mercury was the only god that could descend into the underworld and come back out again. Everything else, everybody else, anything else that dies had to go down into the underworld, and that was it. You were finished, done, gone, complete, over. You never saw the light of day again. Mercury was the only one, the messenger of the gods, yes, that had this, special opportunity. And it's very interesting because this is our thoughts and it's our thinking and it's our, our daily consciousness. Mercury, left brain, is able to go down into the depths of the dark, into the underworld, into the depths of feeling and depths of emotion, and uncover and discover and bring up to the light of day new information, new understanding. It's a rebirthing time. So it's really something, so when Mercury went over Pluto for me, and and it squares, of course it's squaring Uranus now. This is amazing that on Christmas Day Uranus is going direct, and really it signals kind of an end of the last 3 years of Uranus squaring Pluto, because now Uranus is going to move direct and it's going to be going away, and really by the next time it goes retrograde it's not really going to be the square any longer. So we're kind of culminating, finishing up, completing 3-year transition, 3-year phase. Yes, that started with that Uranus-Pluto conjunction in Virgo in the mid-60s. Now the square comes around and it's a rebirthing. It's a new opening. And so here we have we have the birth of a new year and the solstice point and Mercury rising from the Pluto, and it's just this whole time. And next week Venus comes out of Scorpio, the sign of the underworld, into Sagittarius. Saturn has just moved out of the under. So this is a time, I will say, and Christmas can even kind of mark, this point with this full moon again, illuminating, opening, and it's lighting up the dark. And what is the dark? What is this underworld? It's like Pandora's box, or it's the trash bin, or it's, everything that we have denied or suppressed or avoided or ignored or been afraid to deal with or afraid to feel or afraid to communicate, all of our secrets and all of our, it's all, this underworld is like, we all carry, a lot. And it's not just from this lifetime. It's from previous lifetimes. And so what are we dealing with now? The sun went into Capricorn. And that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the law. Saturn is integrity. Saturn is living, walking, according to a greater law that is outside myself. And this is where Pluto is now, and Mercury is now, is in Capricorn. And I talked about the south node of Saturn and the south node of Pluto being in Capricorn. Capricorn is really big during this changing from the patriarchy and letting go of old laws, man-made laws, religious laws, cultural laws, old ways of looking at the world and judging each other and judging ourselves. And it's really time to let go of all these old rules. And what does that give birth to? There's a certain stage of anarchy, yes? And this is kind of like that underworld experience where, we get stripped of the old laws. We get stripped of the old rules. It's like we're not going to follow these commandments, or we're not going to follow these governments, or we're not going to follow these teachings. And what are we left with? Like, we have to grow. We have to expand our consciousness to embrace greater truths. There are truths, natural laws. Karma is one of those natural laws, yes? That what goes out comes back. That what we put out in the world returns to us. And we have this karma from previous lifetimes. We have this karma from previous days, weeks, months, years in our lives of what we have put out or not. And this is where we can get into the purity, because Jupiter is conjunct the north node of the moon now, and it's building into January. These first couple weeks of January are really big astrologically. Jupiter joins with the north node of the moon. Black moon Lilith comes up and creates, she's already there. So we're all dealing with shadow in our relationships, and shadow, in our communications, and this need to be something that we're not, to rebirth a new identity, to shed our old skin like snakes. And it's like vulnerable and scary, and we feel like super naked and super exposed, and it can be very scary and confusing when you've got nothing to hold on to. You're letting go of the past, but you don't really know what your future identity or the future self or the new paradigm, we don't really know what the new paradigm is. We don't really know what the age of Aquarius is. We have to create it. It's like pulling a rabbit out of your hat. And what are we going to do? We're going to make mistakes. We're going to screw up. We're going to, try riding that bicycle and fall down and hurt ourselves and scrape ourselves. And we got to get up and do it again. And this is just like, and it's just like, really, we can fall down and stay down, go into despair, go into depression, go into failure, go into, what I did wrong, and self-judgment and blaming self and other people, and, because, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, practice, 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 man. You try and you fail, you try and you fail. And so this, you know, dealing with this karma, dealing with this giving birth to a new identity, a new paradigm, new ways of doing relationship requires what? A ton of forgiveness, compassion, understanding. This, you know, harkens back to, you know, Chiron and Neptune in Pisces. But if we really want to move forward, and we really want to let go, and we know that we are new, there's a kind of innocent, naive, open approach towards let's try this, let's try that, let's experiment with this, let's really, you know, explore our consciousness, ourselves, our needs, our fears, and we can go overboard, we can overexpand, overextend, we can, you know, fall down and retract and go into fear and paranoia and shut down. And what we want to just understand is keep breathing through these times. Expand, and when you can't expand anymore, contract. And when you can't contract anymore, expand, and just keep that movement. And this is just the natural cycle of the day, the natural cycles and rhythms of the seasons, of all life, of all planetary cycles. This full moon, let's look at this full moon, Cancer, Capricorn. You know, the moon's moving through Cancer, the inner child. My personal needs and wants, and I'm going to have a tantrum or get angry or get mad if I don't get my way, and I don't get nurtured and I don't get protected, and I'm scared and I want a big daddy or a big mommy, you know, to be looking after me and looking over me, and and here is the Sun and Pluto and Mercury up there in Capricorn saying, look, there's more than just your personal needs, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it is your job, whether it is your family, your children, your society. There's more, and it's time to grow up. Capricorn and Saturn have to do with maturity, and that maturity is integrity, and that integrity is living in a truth that is bigger than the personal needs and the personal whims and the personal wishes. So we're all kind of, it's like stepping up to the plate. You know, like when you graduate, it's time to get out there and get a job and start to really use and do and be and act in a, you know, a more of a selfless manner. I've talked about this whole year of 2016 having to do with service, healing, giving, contributing. And it's, I mean, it's already started, like we're already in it. And this expansion of consciousness is the beautiful part of it. So, I just want to, I mean, when I'm thinking of karma, because I was just, you know, reading about this last night with Jeffrey Green's book. We don't know the roots of our karma in this lifetime, in our relationships. We're acting out of some unconscious, and this is what Pluto is, right? It's the soul, and it's unconscious. And these needs and urges and desires come up out of the soul. And Mars is now square that Mercury. Mars has been square Pluto. Mars is the desire in Libra of relationship and partnership. Desiring and wanting relationship and partnership, but also dealing with unconscious needs and desires that have their roots in far distant past lives, or our childhood, this lifetime, or, you know, places that, you know, we don't know where all of these desires, urges, wants, and everything emerges or comes out of. And so it's very difficult to deal with our situation, to really always know or see or understand what the right thing to do is. And it has to do with, particularly now, this purification. Having pure intention, and how pure is your intention? And you have to look at what is the ultimate intention. It's growth, expansion of consciousness, an opening of the heart. It's love, a desire to love and be loved and experience love. This is what the pure intention to love and experience love is a beautiful, pure intention. And our personal needs for security, for holding, it's when our personal needs get in the way and we manipulate situations and we manipulate people and we move things around to meet our personal needs, that intention of loving and healing and opening and everything can get distorted. It can get impure. It can get, it can create karma. Yeah? So we create karma, or we get out of alignment when we fall out of purity. And this Jupiter conjunct the North Node in Virgo, which is going on for months, a couple months now, December, January, February, and it's going to come back again later on, next June, July, August. This is about this purification of our intention, and really seeing how powerful or how strong or how weak, that intention really is. And is it being followed up by actions, or are our intentions being kind of, pushed aside for our personal whims, wishes, wants, desires, or whatever, for pleasure, security, gain, power. There's all kinds of these other personal things. So this is a real time of discriminating, of discerning between, am I really in alignment? Am I really acting in truth, speaking the truth, walking my truth, being my truth? Or has my truth been kind of clouded or, distorted or, perverted by other shadows, other devils, other demons, other needs or desires that come from, being abandoned in previous lifetimes, or being betrayed, or wanting to get back at somebody, wanting to get even because I've been hurt by this, that, or the other thing before. There's all the need for revenge or justice, or we get all of our we have these pure intentions, but there's all this other programs running. So this Mercury conjunct Pluto brought up, a bunch of the other programs, and sun's coming around, and, it's time to be looking at these other programs. Black Moon Lilith is, going to be awakening us, to our unconscious programs that sabotage our ideal, the ideal person that we want to be in the world. So the idea here that I'm seeing with this mantra is to have faith and to go with the flow of the cycles, and to trust that you're going to, with your intention of spiritual awakening and opening of the heart, that holding on to that intention and using that as a compass, even though you lose your way or get lost or fall out of integrity or mess up or fall down, there's the return, because that compass is always there. And it's really like, and the more often through meditation or yoga or your spiritual practice of any kind, the more you strengthen that intention, the stronger your compass, the more you stay on course, in alignment, and there's not as much pain and suffering for yourself and other people. So it's good to have like that mission statement. It's good to have a vision, but then turn the vision into a mission and then use that mission, and continue on that mission and strengthen that mission statement. That is your compass to guide your actions, decisions, and choices, And when you're doing that, it's like, yeah, and you're in alignment, life is going to, flow more smoothly. And when you fall out or you get lost, it's not the end of the world. You're going to put the bicycle back up, get back on it, and ride again, get back on course. If you sail off course, well, yeah, you have adjustments to make. But of course, you've learned something in that process. You learned, oh my God, whoops, when I do that, I fall over. Okay, well, check mark, I know not to do that again. When I got blown off course, it's because I didn't adjust the sails correctly. Well, I know that I better watch those sails a little more closely. I mean, it's like we can use every minute, every act, everything in our lives is a tool of learning, expansion, and growth. And that's where it's like allowing and forgiving and moving on. And, it's just like, shoo, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Don't get lost off course or get lost, with your bicycle, because you fell down, and you're just going to, it's like, get back up, get back on course, forgive yourself, forgive your partner, forgive other people, forgive your parents. In some ways, forgive yourself for being born into this whole planet of polarity and darkness and suffering in the first place. That's really the root of it, but that's not a Pele report. That's not a 15-minute Pele report. That's like a book to write. I was thinking about that this last week. It's like, yeah, it's like you have to forgive yourself for being born, and that is going to go a long way. I don't know if you get that one. It may take a little bit. Anyway, the mantra for this week is, no matter how long or dark is the night, there will be another day. Just as the death of what used to be gives birth to a better way. You want to breathe into that one and repeat that one as many times as necessary during this holiday season, during the New Year season, when, you are just like, in states of chaos or darkness or death or releasing or letting go, or, stuff is like coming up that, it's like it's scary fears and things. Just knowing that that every death leads to a new birth, that every night leads to another day, and that every cycle goes around and around and around. What goes up must come down. What is down resurrects. This is the time of resurrection, the time of rebirthing. Christmas is the birth of, Christ consciousness. Super powerful time. So, one more time and I'll leave you alone. No matter how long or dark is the night, there will be another day. Just as the death of what used to be gives birth to a better way. May your days, holidays be filled with joy, happiness, and forgiveness. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.